Greetings, my people. It's Mr. PDT and Dr. Brilliant yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. So, as you are joining, my people, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Let me know if the visuals are transparent and crystal clear. And let me know if I'm audible enough so that I don't proceed talking and talking and talking and only realize after 2 hours that there was no audio or the visuals were not even there. Dr. Brilliant, I welcome you back to the Enlightenment series. How have you been?
I've been good. I'm smiling and I am excited.
I can see you're always pumped up when you talk about Uebert Angel. Why is it that Uebert Angel, triggers your fancy? Why do you get so excited when the subject matter is the ambassador?
Because when you have material, when you have material that can volumes of material that can become a book, and a second edition and a third edition of that book, and see the things that you are working at unfolding. That's why it excites me like this, because I've done extensive research and I'm now willing to publish this research, and this is exciting times for me.
Have you had, or do you have any spiritual ties with Uebert Angel before we proceed, or any time in the past?
Spiritual ties? No spiritual ties whatsoever. Maybe if it's a necktie or a bow tie that he probably gave me. Not a spiritual tie, no. Nothing of that sort.
No, I'm just trying to measure and gauge the level at which your expose will be gravitating from. Because there are so many other pictures that I've seen of you two together, probably doing business together or working together. Maybe this gives you gravitas. I don't know if I'm using gravitas in the right context.
You are.
Maybe this gives you gravitas to have more to say, or for whatever that you say to be credible, right, as far as the ambassador is concerned.
So if, for example, you were to ask me to talk about somebody like, say, who can I use? Jeremiah Omoto, for example, from Nigeria. I don't have that in-depth knowledge of his operation and his person. I don't. I wouldn't be expert. But when it comes to this guy, I am expert on his modus operandi and the way that he runs. So I am willing to speak about what I know about him. I was a bit relaxed about this, just like, let the guy be. But
exactly. That was my follow-up question, to say, why now, of all this time?
Well, sometimes when you come and slap a lion that is just lying there and you slap it or pull its tail, it wakes up and it may start to roar. So this is exactly what these guys did. For some strange reason, whatever it is that they thought they would be able to intimidate me and threaten me. And I thought to myself, you know what? I decided to let sleeping dogs lie and just say, you know what? Let that guy be. Let me go about my way. But the minute they started threatening me and started coming after my person and attacking my property and vandalizing my property, I then thought, okay, I'll show you who's what. And if you think you can put an end to me, I can undo you. And at the moment, it's 1-0 to me, because we know now that this guy's ambassadorial title that he had with the PAP has been revoked. And I gladly say I was part of that. I started the whole campaign to get that revoked, and it has been revoked. And that's not just, it's not the end, it's the beginning. I have much, much more that I am rolling out. And I just want to show people that in times when you are intimidated and in times when you are threatened by people, don't shy away or don't cower in into a corner and be scared. Stand up, face these guys. They are nothing but owls which have no horns. In Shona, I say zizi risnanyanga. So it's like a feather, a horned owl. You know, the horned owl, those are not real horns. They are feathers. It can't gouge you with that. So that's what I'm saying. That this person that all these other people think is so powerful, the engine behind what makes him appear to be powerful is something that I'm well familiar with. And therefore, I can undo and dismantle that. And I will.
Speaking of slapping the lion or pulling the lion's tail, and about the threats that were probably sent to you, are you referring to this one in particular that came from one of his bodyguards saying that you must leave the ambassador alone or else you're finished?
Yeah, so I want to see who's going to be finished, me or them. It's me against them at the moment, and I am winning at the moment, and I will continue to win.
Is this what triggered you? Is this what triggered you?
Yes. You don't come and threaten me. This is going. I told him, if you read in that chat that we had, I told him that it's not going to end well for you guys. Let's go.
Let me read again. This is the bodyguard sending you a message. Comrade, we are done playing games with you. Touch ambassador, you are finished for good. We are not playing. This level of threats, they might sound mild, but did they manifest after you touched the ambassador?
Yeah, they did. They managed to do some. They just vandalized stuff and intimidated just scared part of my family, my grandma, old people that were in my place. But it doesn't shake me. It shook my people, but it doesn't shake me. So I've got my people covered now. I've got my people safe. So whatever it is that they bring, I bring twice as much heat on them. I hit them where it hurts. And so if they choose to go and attack family, I've got a lot that I can do. I could start undoing and unpacking those around ambassador. If I choose to, I can go after anybody around him and I can undo them. And I can show the criminality that they are involved in. I can show the dodgy things that they did, the way that they snuck into this country, the wives, the cousins, the brother-in-laws, all those. I can show and I can go after them should I choose to. But at the moment, I'm not focusing on them. I just want to go and show people the criminality and the con artistry that Uebert has perfected and made people believe what he's not.
Okay, go ahead.
He's projecting himself as an astute businessman, somebody that had properties, a property mogul in the UK, this, that, and the other. All those things I can undo and I can go back. We can go and make this a series if we want. And I can start to unveil some of these things. I can unveil a part of some of these things. Some of this is now subject to bigger investigation, and it's evidence that I'm going to be giving forward to authorities to outline what I'm talking about, because I'm not talking about things that I have no evidence of. I'm talking about things that I have tangible evidence of. I can show snippets of this and I can go and verify what it is that I can share right now, because I'm not going to be silent. Even as this investigation is going forward, I can reveal certain things that are not going to jeopardize or compromise the greater picture of what the authorities would be looking at.
There's a popular
and when I say authorities, I'm not talking about the ZRP or the Zimbabwe police. No, those ones are not involved in this. I'm talking about what's happening here in the UK.
There's a popular saying which goes, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
Exactly.
Do you think you have the capacity to bring down the ambassador, Uebert Angel?
I have a sling. I have a sling. And like
I'm just doing, what I'm doing right now, I'm just doing a background check
Yeah.
And the follow-up question is, why should people now believe what you tell us about Ambassador? Why are you the right person to dismantle Ambassador if you're going to? And why is your
You
weight
see,
against him
let me let
tangible
me
or valid?
let me let me tell you something. The people that have been going after this guy, the majority of times, I was the one that would parry them. I was the one defending. So I know exactly the material that they were using and how I could offset that and how I could off-put the materials or allegations that they were bringing forth. Some of the things were very serious and accurate. It was my job to keep this at bay and to dilute and minimize this thing. But now I am the one that is coming after him. And I know his modus operandi. He might think that I don't know, but watch me. I'm different. I'm not going to be like these guys that just talk, talk, talk. I talk and I supply whatever relevant information that I can to the authorities. This is not about me just trying to mudslide. This is me pointing out where illegalities were committed and the authorities would take over and take charge. So this is not about me saying, oh, Uebert is immoral and then leaving it there. It's about me saying Uebert is immoral and the way that he operates is unconstitutional or unjust, or there's illegalities there. And then the PAP responds and says this, and then there's results. So this is what we're talking about. I said to me right now in this battle, it's 1-0, Dr. Brill 1, Uebert and team 0. It's 1-0 at the moment. And I'm going to make it 2-0, and I'm going to make it 3-0, and I'm going to make it 4-0, and I'm going to make it 5-0. And I am going to make it big. And something will happen. He might be protected in Zimbabwe, but not here.
Okay, how far do you want to go with this? You have succeeded already, maybe
All the
in
way.
aiding in him being demoted as the ambassador of the PAP.
Mm-hmm.
How far do you want to take this?
I want to take this to its logical conclusion. I want
Where is it ending?
There is
Where
not
is it ending?
there's going to be at the end might be. I'll give you the scenarios. The scenarios are he's going to be take refuge in Zimbabwe and hide himself there, because there's nothing much I can do about him in Zimbabwe, because the political establishment in Zimbabwe will protect him. But outside Zimbabwe, it's going to be very, very difficult for him. And I can assure you that.
You have that power and
I
connection.
have that confidence.
Oh, you have that confidence. Okay, so let's get into the conversation. Mm-hmm. Just give us a brief, maybe background of Prophet Uebert Angel, who he is, and how he became to be who he is now, so that we can have somewhere to start with. Remember, on this particular episode, you wanted us to actually go deeper into how identities were changed, into the companies that he alleged to be running, the banks, and etc., etc. But I think that would be too much for the people, and it will be too much food to chew for the people. You told me that there is so much criminality that you want to prove. There is so much crime that you want to prove was committed on his way to this top that he is on today's date. And maybe to just ask a follow-up question. If you say that he got to where he is today by committing crime, do you think that you can undo him and restore him back to where he started?
No. You asked me who he is. Mm-hmm. I can tell you what he is, not who he is. I can tell you that he's a criminal.
Wait a minute. Yeah. I said who he is. So you're not going to tell me who he is. You're going to tell me what he is.
Yeah. Who he is. That's because for me to say who, he's the best person to say who he is. I can tell you what he is, as in from my assessment of the person. So if you go into the way that we are going to be doing this, I'm going to be saying to you, maybe in the next episode that we'll have, I'm going to bring to you here and say, okay, this is when I met this person. He was already a full-grown man. So right now, I can start by saying this person has officially 2 ages. 2 ages. It's either in the UK here, they identify this person as a 51-year-old, whereas in Zimbabwe, according to the Zimbabwean registry, he's identified as a 45-year-old. So I can prove to you what I'm talking about. And then we ask questions as to why this is. Why is he a 51-year-old man when he's reported in England, according to his identity and who he is in the English soil here and English registry that he has? You would find that he's a 51-year-old. So there's a discrepancy here between the person known as Uebert Angel and the person that was known in Zimbabwe as Uebert Mudzaniri. Uebert Mudzaniri in Zimbabwe, according to his identification and birth registry in Zimbabwe, was born on the 6th of September, 1978, which would make him about, in the next couple of weeks, he'll be 45. Whereas in the British system, and according to all the registrations that we have, even those of his companies here, he is registered as a 51-year-old who was born on the 4th of March in 1972.
Wait a minute. But that is six years extra. Why would he adjust his years to become older? I know when people alter their ages, they alter them so that they can become younger.
That's
why
a question.
Why is he 51 years old? How did he add 6 more years to his real age, as you claim?
That's a question that is best answered by him, because there is an element there of criminality that was involved in that alteration of age. Why did he alter that? I can adduce the evidence as to what I'm talking about, but it is for him to answer when he's put to the test, and when he's brought forward to put these questions to him, like, why did you do this? Why he did that, I don't know, but I know that it was criminal, and it is criminal.
Wait, do you have the evidence to support this?
Yes, I do.
The existence of these two identities.
I have much more than that. I can tell you that the first identity card that he got, where he got it from, and then reported that one lost and got a second one, and these are identity cards. And then the second ID card that he got in Gweru, the ID number to that, and then I can come back and tell you his passport that he got in the UK, the dates that are registered on that, the date of birth that is on that, how it does not correspond with the number of years. This is the one now that has 6 years, that makes him 6 years senior his age. So now there's a discrepancy in that his brother, his older brother, his senior brother, for those that are from Nigeria and other parts, they would say senior brother, not older brother. His senior brother is born in 1975. But he is the youngest in this family. But on record here, according to the documents that he has here, he's born in 1972, making him older than his older brother. So those are the things that we need to start from, and then build from that to say, this is the man that is said to be a leader of a church, an ambassador, a man that is held to such high esteem, the highly esteemed, the one that is the son of Chris Lomi, the true prophet of God, and he's got fake identification. Let's start there, and then build up, and then we start building into all these other companies that he claims to have.
Okay, but name change. Even now. Wait, name change is legal. How does this constitute criminal?
No, to change a name is not criminal. But you can change your name, but you cannot change your age. You can't change your age.
The age was changed as well.
You can change your name. You can decide tomorrow, and by deed poll, you can decide tomorrow that you are now going to call yourself Prof X the Great. You can, and legally call yourself Prof X the Great. You can legally call yourself that, but you can't change your date of birth. You can't change your age. You can't all of a sudden wake up tomorrow and instead of saying you are 30 years old and then you say you are now 46. You can't change your age. You can change your name all you want, but you can't change your age. So in this case, where the criminality is not in the name change. You can change his name from Uebert Mudzaniri to Uebert Angel, but you cannot change your date of birth. That's criminal.
So what legal consequences does it have?
It has a lot of implications, a lot, because it alters the identity of who you are and who people would believe you to be. So you can't be a dual person like that, that you are 51 and 45 at the same time, depending on where you are. I don't know whether there's a spiritual significance or relevance to that, but in as much as I know, it's criminal.
So does he have a dual citizenship? Because I believe he's based in the UK. Does he have a dual citizenship, a Zimbabwean one and a British?
Yes.
And on the British one, does it correspond with the Zimbabwean one? I mean, the details, the ID details.
They don't. We can do this tomorrow. I can show you evidence to all this that I'm saying, and we can share it here all day tomorrow if you want, or even now if you want.
Okay. So which status? How did he acquire this?
Sure,
the British status,
the
British
citizenship status. We can share how, because some of these things are not. You see, the beauty about this country, like if you're in England, there's information that is accessible. So, for example, anything to do with these companies, anything to do with all these public figures, the information can be obtained. I can access information as to, okay, this person, this person, that. I want to find out more about this person. So right now we have a person like Uebert Angel here. If I wanted to find out what was his reason for coming into the UK and how did he get here and what did he say when he got here, I can get that. I can access all that information. And we can share it here. So if you came in this country on an asylum ticket saying, I'm running away from political persecution in Zimbabwe, and then now you're ambassador of that same government that you said was persecuting you, we can push and lobby for some of this to be reviewed, some of these things, the claims that he said, to be reviewed, so that the Home Office here has a fuller understanding and a clearer understanding as to, okay, so where does this person really stand?
So
it is in the interest of even the Zimbabweans that are here. I mean, there's been a petition that has been put out there, and the signatures are continuing to gather and to increase for most of what he has to be looked into, because this is a very intriguing and a very interesting person. He's a person of interest that when we start delving.
When you say what he has, are you talking about his wealth or what?
The wealth accumulation that was there, there's a lot of unexplained wealth. And I don't think it will stand in court to say it was just spiritual, it was miracle money that just did this. I don't think it will hold in court. You'll need to prove much more than just the statement that says it was just miracle money. So we are pushing for this. And these are just highlights that I'm giving. And we are pushing for this. Much more will be revealed as the authorities permit. I'm willing to even just say and state what I know. All the evidence that I'm giving to the authorities, I can share here. They haven't given me a limitation as to what I can say or not say. It's up to me. They just said I should exercise caution and discretion. But I can share what it is that I'm sharing with the authority. I can share here because it's irrefutable. There's no way that they can try and dispute it. They can try and say, okay, we're going to sue this guy, take him to court. I dare them. Let's go.
So you said that in the UK, all this information is public information.
Most the things to do with these companies. For example,
if I register, okay, wait a minute. So if I register a company in the UK,
Yes.
all the details about my company and the directors and the tax returns, they'll all
Yes.
be public.
It's public information. Yeah.
How
I
many
can
companies does he have? How many companies does he have so far?
operational or just dormant. There's a lot. He's got a lot. He just
Okay, since you
registered.
say, okay, the reason why I'm asking is you
Yeah.
say that the way that he has amassed some or most of his wealth and how he has branded himself as a property mogul or as a businessman, it means that there should be some companies registered somewhere out there that he had put in place so that when he tell people that I'm a property mogul or I am in this business, they can go and check their digital prints or their physical addresses, or I mean their digital addresses. So do we have proof or a trail of the companies that are registered in his name that we can Google now and
Yeah,
check
yeah.
and find out?
I can show you. I can show you how to do that, and it will tell us the exact number of companies registered under his name or where he is a director or listed as a director. It will give us that. As long as they are registered here in the UK, we'll find that. I don't know about other ones in other countries like Zimbabwe, but I know we can find that information about everything that is here in the UK. We can find it.
Okay, so far from
We
your
can do
research
it
that
live.
you've done,
We can even do it. We can do it live, and we'll scroll through and we'll show you how this is done. And we can go through all these things. I can give you a quick example of he likes saying this about a bank that yeah, my wife runs a bank, a financial institution. At the first they called it Brits Bank, but then with
Brisbane. Can I
Brits
look it
Bank,
up right now? If I
yeah,
look it up, will I find it?
yeah, but if you find Brits Bank, but that Brits Bank that you're going to find is not the one that is registered to him. Brits Bank already existed. It's a name that he just says, but it's already existed. What is registered under him, or what the part that he was a director of, is this thing called Brits Money. Brits Money is the company that's registered to him. He's one of the directors, but is no longer. It's probably like a retired director.
Wait, is it
Yes,
this one?
exactly.
So everything is public here. Where do I go here to check the directors of
If
this
you scroll
company?
down, if you're on that page, it's the what's the website that you've gone on?
I'm going on. Let me see. It's,
Company's House.
it's find an update company. What.org. Let me see.
Yeah, it should say dot go dot. What does it say
This
at
one.
the end? Right. All right. Yeah. .gov.uk. That's the official one. So if you scroll down on that, just scroll down, go down, keep going down, and then it starts telling you filter. Keep going down, keep going. We can filter in all those fields that are there. Okay, there you go. Now start seeing what it starts saying there. What is it saying? I can't read that.
You can't read. Here
Yeah.
it's saying date of registration, description, and there's a PDF. Accounts for a dormant company.
So the company, Brits Money, is a dormant company. It's not functional at the moment. But when he speaks, he says, "My wife runs a bank." That
okay,
bank
how
is
do I
dormant.
check the directors? If I want to check the directors here,
Right.
because there's an overview, filing history, people.
Yeah, click on people.
On people here, on the small icon
Yes.
called people there.
Yes, people. They click on that one.
Okay, let's see. Oh, it has 3 officers or 2
Yes.
resignations.
So he's resigned from that. So it's the active director there is Angel Beverly Uebert. So Uebert Angel's wife is the one called Beverly Uebert Angel. And then he scroll down. Who's the other official that's no longer active? Who's that? Angel Uebert Senior, right? And it says what? It says in that highlighted in black there. What does it say?
In the highlighted Angel Uebert, the exchange resigned. He's resigned.
Right.
Yeah.
So who's the third officer? Because it was 3 officers on that. Who's the third officer?
The third officer is Blackstock. I think it's Blackstock or something.
Right. So that Blackstock guy is a guy that used to be a footballer, Dexter.
But he resigned as well. So it only has one director, the wife.
Yeah, so it is one director. But the important thing there is that it is dormant, right? It is a dormant company. That means it's not functioning. So it's a shell company.
No tax returns.
if you go on those PDFs that it was showing, it will show us all the tax returns that they've claimed, what money that bank has made, and what tax it has paid. It will show us all that.
Okay, wait. I'll go through the entire website and
You're,
do a
you're,
video recording so that the explanation can be easier. But the question
you're,
that I have to ask is, why
yeah.
do they register all these companies and they are not functional? They just keep them on the shelf.
It's very interesting because it is part of the repertoire, the things that they will say that makes them have this aura of business and gravitas, that they are people that are, you go on that and you find that the company exists. But when you go into the detail of this company, because if it says I have a company, I have a bank, you go into company's house, you look at it, there's a number there, company number, registration number, it's all there. It's legit. It's legitly registered. But is it operating? Does it do business? That's the thing. So when he speaks, like he had an interview, ZBC interview with Ruben Barwe. We can play that because it's not his. So we can play that at some point. So when he was appointed as ambassador or ambassador at large for the Americas and Europe, at that thing, that the function, when he stepped out of State House, the interview was done at State House, and Ruben Barwe asks the question. He goes on to talk about his degrees, that I have 2 degrees in finance, this, that, all this. I went to Bolton University, that, blah, 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 all that blush. And then he says, my wife owns a banking institution in Britain. He's referring to this British Bank, which is a dormant company. But in that interview, he's made the people believe. You see that where the deception comes in. He's made the people believe that he's a well-to-do guy with a bank. His wife owns a bank. But this bank is just a registered thing, Brits money, and it's not functional. It's been dormant. It has never had any tax returns that it has declared. We can go back to as far as when it was registered.
Wait a minute. So we actually have a Brits bank, the
Brits
official
bank
one.
exists. Yeah, but it's nothing to do with them. Theirs is called Brits money. So when you go and look Brits,
so they took Brits money from Brits bank.
They speak, when they speak of Brits bank. So you can go and find, oh, it's a functional bank, Brits bank, but their company is called Brits money. So you go there and you find, when you look there, it's a different thing. Similar thing that he did. At one point, he said that he had launched an energy drink. He had launched an energy drink called Black Gold energy drink. He said, I've launched an energy drink. He didn't launch that. He went and bought a couple of cans of those things somewhere, and then he took pictures with that. And then he was selling that to members of his church. But this is something that is already registered way back. It was registered way back in America. It's owned by people that are not related to him. Go on that company profile, is nowhere near that. He's not even an investor in that. He just fooled people to believe that he's got an energy drinks company. He's got a bank. He even came up with something called Atom Mobile and said, I've got a mobile networks company, and you can buy SIM cards, you can make calls, there's Atom, it's an app, it's this, all those things. You look for them now, they don't exist. But he made it look like he's got this business. So what he does then, when he's here, he talks about, in Europe, he talks about the businesses that he has in Africa that don't exist. When he's in Africa, he talks about businesses that he has in Europe that don't exist. So this is how this whole thing is played out. Similar thing, when he was talking about the property that he owns in Hampton, the Hamptons, he called it, in Birmingham, that he owns a whole block, there's flats, there's this, his church used to be there, but that was a rented place. The church was a rented place, and it was not in his name, it was not his. The whole thing that was called the Hamptons, we wrote a lot about that. We called him a property mogul that is doing this, is doing that, and all that thing. And even to a point that there was a figure that was just conjured from the skies that is worth 60 million. And that figure was leaked into the Daily News, into the Financial Gazette in Zimbabwe, into the Herald in Zimbabwe, to a point that when a story now was put together for Forbes Forbes did not go and do greater research and try and find, because they thought these 3 papers that had already quoted him and were quoting him and saying that, talking about him as a property mogul, all that, they thought these are reputable papers. They went with that. He was in Forbes as the property mogul that owned.
So wait, so he made his way into the Forbes by
Yeah.
having all these concocted companies that he had registered and these publications alleging that he was worth 60 million and stuff. That's how he made his way into the Forbes magazine.
Most of these stories that were written about Uebert Angel being philanthropic and is a giver, is all this, is enigmatic, is charismatic, is what all the stories that were published, all the stories that were written from say 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17, I had a hand in that.
Okay, the big question is, as the PR guy that you are, or that you were serving Uebert Angel, what was the motive of concocting all these things and make him, decorate him so much like this? What was the main motive behind all this?
It was a project. For me at the time, it was a project. You know, I like fun projects. It was a project that I thought, okay, here's my chance to make some, work with somebody that I can do anything I want. I can just create all this. This guy is an interesting character. And he was, in a way, a fun character to work with. He was enigmatic. There was all this thing, the aura of all this spirituality, the whole thing about miracles and all that. When you put that together and you are the one trying to put all this together and run something like that, big project, it was fun. But then it's when you start getting closer to this and start to see the ugly side of things, it's no longer fun. When you start to see a lot of these people that are coming forward complaining about the sexual abuse or things like that. There's many people that we had to deal with. I had to deal with, that would come up and say I was sexually abused. Some of them, of course, the stories would be that there's a person that comes forward that says I was sexually abused, and then there are 12 other stories that are created from within that claim to be that. So they drown out the one true story, and you drown it out that way. I can show you how all this was done, and maybe it's still in operation even today. So one story comes up, which is a true story, but to undo this story, you have to create other stories that are similar to that story that are fake, and then they all then come back and say, I lied about that, I apologize. And once they start falling like dominoes, even the one that was the real one is
okay,
now
wait,
drowned.
Dr. Brilliant, I think you moved too fast on that one. Now you are explaining how they do damage control. Are you now
Yes.
explaining how most of the cases that rose to accuse Uebert, how you managed to suffocate them, or
Yes.
how all these cases disappeared into thin air? Is
It's,
that the strategy that you're explaining now?
it's still the same. Like I said, the modus operandi is still the same. It's still the same way that they do it even today.
Are these
Nothing has
guys that
changed.
sophisticated? Are they that sophisticated?
No, the issue is the belief that you have is that they're sophisticated, but it's as simple and as plain and as in your face as it can ever be. But
okay, let's bring this into a real case scenario. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Yeah. I come out to the public and I say I was sexually abused by Uebert Angel. How do you, as the PR guys, or how did you guys use to cover up for something of that nature?
Sometimes a person like that, because they have access, there's a way that they were brought to this point, right? Now, there are people that can either be sent to speak to this person and try and say, how do we get this to not get into the public? How do we pay you to shut up? If the person becomes difficult and does not want to do that, all you do is you create others that are like that same person, 6, 7 others that come up with their own accusations.
But are dummies. The
are
others are
dummies.
just dummies.
Yes, they are fake. And then they come out and it's all over the place that, oh yeah, there's this girl saying this, there's this girl saying that. And the ones that are the dummy ones, the fake ones, would then be cornered, and then they'll come up with a confession and say, oh yeah, I was just making it up. I wanted this, I wanted that. And then the public now, the general view is that, oh yeah, there are all these people, they just make these things, and then they always end up apologizing, saying, you know what, I was wrong. I apologize. I would like to apologize to Papa. The story was made up. I was forced to do this. I was forced to say this. And then Papa forgives and says, you know what? I know there are a lot of people making all these allegations. I forgive them. But there's one that is saying the truth. The other ones were just engineered and created to make this confusion.
Now
So
I want to go back to the money aspect. How do
Mhm.
they use this whole idea of making themselves look as men that have so much business acumen? How do they use it in the manipulation of people,
Right.
or how did that aid to their amassment of all this wealth that they have today?
Like I said, I want to speak about the one person that I am well versed with. So, knowing, as you know, Ambassador Uebert Angel, and those that know him, they know that this man likes taking pictures of everything. I mean, right now, he's got a real farm in Zimbabwe. You'll see that you'll take pictures feeding the cattle. He's brandishing a gun and all that. It's just PR stuff, good PR stuff. But it's real. That's why he can do that. Now, if he says he's got all these companies and all this and all that, have you ever seen a picture or even him saying, I'm sitting in a conference room or at the conference table with my director of this or director of that for this company? It's just companies that he says, I run companies, I do this. Knowing the type of person that he is, you'd have showed us one day saying, I'm going for a meeting with my directors of this or this company. He's got all these companies that do not actually function. There is the billionaire group of companies. You need to have a number of companies. There's a thing that we just read a couple of months back that he's been given a license to run a newspaper in Zimbabwe, the Daily something, and a magazine that it's all in the papers. We were shown all these graphics and all these things that they're going to build a center, a media center in England here, a massive dome, and this. They're building a massive church in England. Nothing of that happened. Money was raised for that, but nothing of that happened. I mean, they are finally building something in Zimbabwe. I will give them that. But here in England, if you ask those that were members, there were times that there was this thing called the Mikdash anointing to build the church. There was going to be a hippodrome built in a place called Briley Hill in Dudley. Nothing came out of that. So these are the things that I say that the guy would make people believe. And the thing is, he's got that ability to just make people believe anything. He can come up with some nonsense and people will believe it.
So you mean these guys don't really have any tangible investments on the ground? All their wealth is amassed from massive poor gullibles that give in type and seeds.
Like I said, if we go into, if we want to go into it, that same website that you have there, you see where it says name. If you click on the part that says Uebert Angel Senior, if you're still on that page, click on his name. It will give you a list of all the companies that are registered where he's involved. It will give you. Click it now.
Hey, I think I've left the site
You've
now.
left it. So if you've done that, we can do this tomorrow, and I talk you through the whole thing so you can actually get to see that, okay, with all these companies, none of them are operational. So where is it? Which businesses? Can anybody point to a business here in the UK, one business that is a functional business that Uebert, apart from church, a functional business that Uebert Angel runs here in the UK? Even a shop where he sells something, in a shop where he sells something, he will struggle. You there? Are you? Oh, you seem to have. Maybe your power is gone. Well, we might have to continue this tomorrow, people. Oh, he's coming back.
Okay, sorry for that. There was a glitch on my side.
Okay, I thought you just ran away there because I was giving you too much information.
No, I'm not the type that
I was
runs.
now telling your audience that you know what, we might have to continue this tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah.
you were saying that if we were to do an audit of the companies that the brother has, you realize that there is none.
No. You find them, but then try and find what is it that they do. How many of those are active? Because they're all shelf companies that are dormant. What business is an operational business right now that we can look at, because we can sort of pretty much gauge how much he makes from how much tax he pays. So the tax that I pay is not, if you're a company, your tax returns is, as you saw on there, they are there, they can tell us how much they filed as tax. So from there, we can then work out, let's say, if we say this company is paying 40% tax, we can then work out that if this is what they paid as 40%, so that means they made this much. We can pretty much tell if they are a $1 million type company or just a small thing. We can tell all that. But on every one of the companies that are listed in their names, there's not one that seems to be making anything or doing anything. If there's anybody that knows a company that is here in the UK that is actually operational and functional, point it to us and say, oh yeah, this is what he does. So there's a lot of unexplainable wealth.
That they cannot prove. That cannot be
prove.
proved.
Yeah, they cannot prove how they've got this. So the only income thing that is bringing in money is the church. But then they'll say, no, if we don't get money from church, we have our own businesses. You have businesses you have companies that are registered that are not in any business. So the real business is the church. And that's what I want to highlight and prove, that this is where his money is. Maybe now as he forays into Zimbabwe, he might be doing some money generating thing in Zimbabwe. Or maybe the gold mafia is what business is for him. So we are now trying to break that down and see where does the money come from. We're following the money trail now and seeing, are there any income generating things that he does? What companies standing away from the church? A company. There was one that was registered there that was called what was it called? Coffee Island. What does Coffee Island really do? What does the companies that fall under the billion group? What do they do? Which ones are actually like companies that are making six-figure digits there? Which ones of all the companies that are listed? Because we can go tabulate and put them into that same, if they're British registered companies, we have the registration number of the company, we have the name of the company, we have the name of the directors, and then we go through from when it was registered and go through each year, each financial year, and see what did they put forward in their tax claims and revenue things for inland revenue. What did they put in to say this is what we made? What did they declare? We can find all that information there, and we do an audit of all of them, and then we see how much is he making from these so-called businesses, and then you'll see that there's nothing.
This program was supposed to be 30 minutes. I was actually walking on eggshells the entire time because the electricity authorities here,
let's do this when you have enough electricity. Then we go through, we just select maybe 2 or 3 companies that we then look at, of the companies that they say they have, and then we look at them, and then we look at whether they are still active, whatever it is that they said they had. I'll suggest that we look at the ones that were made public. Automobile, Brits Money, which was advertised originally as Brits Bank, but then they found out that Brits Bank already exists, so there was an infringement there of trying to steal somebody's name, and it didn't work. And then there is this energy drinks one, which was called Black Gold energy drink. So we look at those three tomorrow, and I could give you all the detail to do with that. If there's any other, I'll add to that. But for now, I want to just go with the three that were made public.
Okay, Dr. Brilliant, you said quite a lot of things here. The company is being part of them, but the one that I'm more interested in is the issue that has to do with identities. And I hope you can prove everything that you have said, and you send me some copies of the IDs that are not collaborating.
I will definitely
come
do that.
and do an extensive and
we can
okay, I can't
also
wait
look
for
at
this one. Let's continue this
look
conversation. Let's continue this conversation tomorrow. I think we'll be now laying out everything on the screen so that we can be able to prove
so
everything
that
you will be
can
saying.
follow. People can follow. And then this is what you do when we're putting it to the authorities to say, look into this, because we are giving them hard evidence. We're not just talking, we're giving them hard evidence.
But which authorities, though, do you think can take action?
The authorities here, I'm not talking about Zimbabwe, because in Zimbabwe, you're free to do anything. They can do whatever he wants. He's an ambassador that represents the president. He can do whatever he wants in Zimbabwe. Who cares what Zimbabwe says? But it's about here.
So to what effect will these things have on him there in the UK?
Wait and see.
I don't want to wait, bro. I want to have ideas. I want to know, man, so that we can.
No. Wait and see. Wait and see. Because
does this constitute any term in prison, or it has to do maybe with him being
like I'm saying,
the status of being a British citizen?
My job here is to bring these things out into the open, to expose these things into the open, and hand this to the authorities. If they want to interrogate and interview me as to what this is, what that is, I can happily sit in front of any committee. I'm going to be sitting on in front of a few committees that are going to interview me with regards to this thing, and see how they then structure the legal side of things. It's not for me to prosecute. I'm not here to prosecute. I'm here to expose and present my findings. And once that is done, the authorities then take it over from there, and what they do with him, whether they arrest him, they charge him with this, they charge him with that, what he's going to be charged with, I have no idea. What I know is I have information, I have evidence of what I'm talking about, and I can back up every single thing all the way back to 2000 to 2030, from 2013 going forward.
Hey, I wish. Can I borrow 30 minutes of your time? Just 30 minutes this time around. I'm not going to extend. After this episode, there's a young man that came to claim that he's the father of the child that we were talking about yesterday. And I just wanted to pick your brain as well and do a 30 minutes just analyzation of that particular subject. We are not going to take in calls. It will just be 30 minutes or less. But this one of the ambassador, this one, it needs me to sit down, compile everything.
This one, I can lay it out for you so that it becomes easier for people to understand what we're talking about. Because like I said, I have volumes and volumes of material. So when I speak, I can just be throwing things from all over the place, and it does not synthesize to the understanding of a lot of people that might be hearing this for the first time. So I want to package it in such a way that it becomes easy for people to consume this and understand where it is that I'm coming from, how it is that I'm planning to move this forward, what it is that I'm doing. I want this revolution to be televised. This is a revolution against an ambassador, a man of God, so-called, a charlatan par excellence.
This is going to make Makandiwa happy. This is going to make Makandiwa happy.
It will make Makandiwa. I can even show you when they hired me to do some dirty on Makandiwa, what it is that I was supposed to do, and how I interact.
Who hired you to do some dirty on Makandiwa?
I was working for these guys.
What kind of dirty?
We'll talk about it. Let's do one at a time. One at a time.
Okay,
I say
where are we starting? Where are we starting? Because we have to
we'll
use
start.
the hyper. Listen, you see me, I take lessons all the time, and whenever you tell me some theories and some strategies, I conceptualize them and I go and research and learn more about them. So on Ambassador, we're going to use the hypodermic needle approach. We want one drop at a time.
Yes, yes,
It's
you're
the
learning fast.
hypodermic, right? Is it the hypodermic?
Hypodermic needle. So you're learning fast because if we inject this whole information at once, it will overload the system. People
Okay,
will not comprehend.
can you explain the hypodermic needle approach so
So,
that our
so
audience can also understand the approach we are going to use?
in media terms, it's called the drip drip effect, right? So what we're doing is, I've got tons and tons of information, but for me to just throw it all at once, this cache of data that I have to just drop it all at once, people will not be able to understand what it is that it is. So I break it down. So I said we start off by just looking at the issue to do with the identity issues, the age. We start from there.
Yeah.
And then
Tomorrow,
we
let's exclusively deal with that one. Let's not include
yes,
the companies and what.
and then from there we can move to the issue of the companies, the registration of all these companies, the dormant companies. What's the purpose of them? What happens there? Then we tie in all the other loose ends. There are issues that were said to be of money laundering. Now, if you have all these dormant companies that are just laying dormant, when do they wake up? When there's something to be moved. We'll come to that and show you how it was done, how it links, and what was happening between the companies that are dormant here and those that were being used in South Africa by a son called Shepard Bushiri, how it all links together. All that. I've got it all. I can put it all. There's a dossier that the Hawks in South Africa had on Bushiri. There was a time that I was called and I was interviewed with regards something to do with that. I think at this moment I am at liberty to speak everything and anything. There's no the case is no longer in court. Bushiri skipped bail. It's no longer in court. At the time that was in court, I wasn't allowed to speak about it, but now I guess I can speak about it. If they don't like me speaking about it, they'll let me know. But for now, I'm going to speak about it.
Is there a point where this conversation will lead to how they do money laundering or how they
Yes.
maybe
Yes.
laundered money from?
I will put forth these at this stage for legal reasons, allegations that I think I have the evidence to prove my allegations. They're not theories. I will show you what it is that I'm saying, why I'm saying it, and what I think happened going forward to lead to where things are.
Okay, let's jump into the next episode, my people. We are going to end this program and we're going to start a fresh new one. We're just going to do a little bit of analyzing on the young man that came to claim Chibuzo's son. We call it damage control, but that's what it really is. So for now, my people, on this particular episode, we're signing out. But stay tuned. In the next 2 minutes, we're back again to look at Chibuzo and the scandal of him and his baby mama. Thank you, Dr. Brilliant. We're out for now.